Let's talk about the latest plan to plunge us back into the pre-industrial age from Ed Miliband. He calls himself the Energy Secretary. Of course, he is the ruining Britain's economy, one solar panel or wind turbine at a time Secretary. But he's got a new clean power plan, which apparently, according to research, you know, people who look at facts, is going to add more than £150 to our annual electricity bills by 2030. Let's talk about this with Andy Mayer. He's an energy analyst at the Institute of Economic Affairs. Morning.
Morning, Julia.
So what is this? Just explain, before we pull it apart, what is this actual plan?
Well, I think it's really important to recognise that it's really the same plan that he's been pushing for some time, which is to decarbonise the grid. And that's what he means by clean power. So less fossil fuels providing our electricity and more renewables and nuclear. And half of that looks quite interesting, which is the nuclear bit. And that came into an announcement in the last week or so with Rolls-Royce projects being announced in Wales, and that could be good.
And we're in favour. We need more nuclear, whether it's the mini reactors or whatever. We need to be building more nuclear. End of. I mean, that's, you know, even just to replace what we've got, we desperately need to do it and sharpish, don't we? Where does it fall down?
Okay.
No? So, you don't agree with that? Tell me why.
Yeah. So what's really important in energy debates is not to get wedded to any technologies, and not fossil fuels, not renewables, not nuclear. In every single case, the message that's coming from the market and from the independent report that you cited earlier on is that you need to look at the cost, and are these the best choices?
Yeah.
So nuclear may be brilliant, but only if Ed Miliband does more to reduce the policy costs of nuclear. So we need to get down the cost of planning, the cost of permitting, and encourage people to come into the country with lots of different technologies, not just picking one winner who then becomes
because the market's really good at this in a way that governments aren't. So why are our home electricity bills, we've got a clean power plan, why are our electricity bills going up? Because didn't they say at the last election, very, very clearly, Ed Miliband and Keir Starmer both categorically saying it, that our energy bills would be down by £300? And I believe they've gone up by £300.
Yeah, so nobody is supporting Ed Miliband in this claim. And it's even unclear if the government is supporting him, because they keep dropping it from their announcements.
Ed Miliband probably doesn't support himself.
Well, yeah, it's just not very clever politics to claim something that people can transparently see is untrue. What's really interesting about these latest reports from Cornwall Energy and Ben James, who's an energy analyst for Axel Energy, is they are impeccably pro-decarbonisation. They are on the same side of the debate.
They can't be decried as climate deniers or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, I don't know any climate deniers. I mean,
there is a climate, you're not denying it.
Yeah, yeah. So there are plenty of people who are sceptical about the pace of climate change and the solutions people are suggesting to it. But there are very few people who deny man-made climate change is the real problem. Anyway, so on what's been said, what they're trying to get at is Ed needs to think harder about how he can reduce these costs. So some of them are pushing battery technology, which may or may not be a solution. Some of them are pushing renewables, and some of them are pushing nuclear. Fine. But what they all agree on is that there are unnecessary costs being put on bills.
Yeah.
So in order to deal with what are already high bills, Ed is adding various redistribution schemes. So he's trying to take the cost off industry that's going to be shut down, as we saw with the Exxon closure of a chemical plastics plant this week. He's trying to move that onto everybody else's bills. He's trying to improve support for those who are vulnerable. So he's trying to increase the warm homes discount. And that's no substitute for simply aiming to get affordable energy. Yeah. And that's what he's not doing.
You wouldn't have to subsidise anyone's energy if our energy was affordable and plentiful and didn't have to be rationed. I mean, that's the key thing, isn't it? And we're constantly told, like, there's this will help, we're going to get more of this clean energy onto the grid and that will help. But then each time everything is subsidised to do that, and of course always has to have its clean energy, unless it's nuclear, it has to be backed up with nuclear or gas, and therefore we end up paying twice, and it always ends up being more expensive. And this is the thing I don't understand, is we've got a government that is totally intent on pushing, you know, modern technology, AI, the future of the, you know, we had an AI summit, didn't we, hosted by the Prime Minister earlier this year. AI is the future. Everyone says AI is the future. The one thing AI needs is cheap, plentiful, reliable energy, and that's the one thing we're not going to give.
Yes, what's beautiful about the research that's just come out is that the company behind it, where this analyst works, is an AI company. So they're trying to sell AI solutions to managing distributed battery technology problems. And that will require energy to run it. So it's this huge circular problem that keeps getting worse and worse because we're living in this Ed Miliband fantasy universe where the only thing that matters is our net zero targets, not security of supply and not the affordability of energy.
Just very briefly, do you reckon, I mean, I've always said these net zero targets don't survive contact with reality, and as reality bites, as we can see, the British public are going, yeah, no thanks, we're done with this now. We've seen Reform lead the way on this. The Tories under Kemi Badenoch, they basically dropped the net zero nonsense as well. I mean, I know the Greens aren't, and the Lib Dems, they don't think it goes far enough, but the reality is Labour can't survive pushing net zero policies. Do you think they're going to end up dropping them?
Well, I think the trend is towards a different approach. Whether Labour arrive at the same conclusion that Reform and the Tories have arrived at sooner, I don't know. I think it's a very difficult political move for Keir Starmer to make when he's already weak. So we'll see.
Yeah, but they'll just keep pushing everything back, won't they? And then so it becomes meaningless.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's no solution. I mean, there is a movement within Labour to get the government to recognise that other things matter. Jobs matter, growth matters, keeping the North Sea open matters. Being
able to hit your home in freezing cold weather like today, Well, we'll see if they get to the reality check. Andy Mayer, great to hear from you, Energy Analyst at the Institute of Economic Affairs. Thank you very much indeed. Philip Ingram, I mean, that's the reality. On a cold day like this, people worrying about putting their heating on, businesses can't function, they're moving abroad. I mean, the economy and society doesn't function if we haven't got 21st century cheap, affordable electricity and gas.
Yeah, and Ed Miliband, the Disenergy Secretary just hasn't got a clue. He uses more energy than he creates.
I think he's properly stark staring lunatic on this issue. I mean, absolutely hysterical on this issue. And the reality is, again, people are not willing to play. And you cannot have economic success. You cannot have AI. You cannot achieve those things and bring down the cost of living if you are pushing net zero. Net zero is incompatible with virtually every other aim the government claims they have.
And he's squandering billions of pounds of our taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the trouble.
Our money, not free. It's our money. So much.